see the look in his eye. He's got this look that he has. All right, we're good to go. All right, so folks, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. If you're first time with me, thank you. I'm really glad you're spending time with us. The next two 24-minute segments are going to blow your mind, as they always do. I'm going to talk for 24 minutes. Whatever questions you have, any health questions at all, type it in your platform. John's going to read me the question at the 24-minute break. I'm going to do another 24 minutes after that, and we'll take a break again. So I am ready to answer your questions. Please share this with your entire contact list because this is vital information. So I'm ready to go whenever you are, John. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. We're going to talk today about cardiovascular disease. Now, this is a biggie. My father passed away of cardiovascular disease. I'm sure you know somebody who either has it or died from it. And unfortunately, we're not making any progress. I know that's a bold statement there. But statistically, we're not getting better at this. We're helping in some places and hurting in others. Now, the United States, we spend about $4.5 trillion on healthcare a year. Chronic diseases, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, they just keep going up. We're not seeing a whole lot of improvement. Now, it depends what study you read. It improves a little bit here, improves a little bit there. But nearly 47% of people in the United States, essentially half of people, have high blood pressure. And heart disease kills one person every 34 seconds. That's crazy. Every 34 seconds. So the time we've been speaking right now, 2 people have died from cardiovascular disease in the United States. That's insane stuff right there. That's about 700,000 deaths annually in the United States. So whatever we're doing is amazing. I'm fascinated by medicine, but I think we should add something to it. I'm not saying what we're doing is wrong. Let's just add something to it. Again, we're spending this much money on it. Outcomes, we rank among the worst in the world. We spend more money than any other country, and we rank among the worst. So if you had an employee who is making the most amount of money in your business, and yet they were one of the worst employees, what would you do with them? You get rid of them, right? Well, we can't get rid of healthcare, but I think we can change it. Leading cause of death, largely preventable. And the most common factors, talk about this every show, have been for 45 years, poor diet, metabolic dysfunction, chronic inflammation, and exposure to environmental toxins. These are preventable things that we're exposed to every single day. And I've been in practice a long time now. And every week, several patients come to me and say, Dr. Joe, I wish I'd listened to you sooner. I've been lecturing now for 45 years. I've been in practice 40 years. I was lecturing before that. And some people heard me when I was a student. I was a young pup with lots of hair. And they said, I heard you speak, and you changed my life. I've told the story before. I was at a car wash a while ago, and a guy comes up to me. He says, you're Dr. Joe. I said, yeah. You with the IRS? Who are you? And he says, you came to my high school, and I had terrible headaches, and nobody could help me, and I was missing so much school, and I was afraid I was going to graduate. And you talked about artificial sweetener. One of the side effects was headaches. He says, I stopped drinking diet soda. I haven't had headaches since. He says, I never thought I'd have the opportunity to thank you. Again, not even a patient. So the information is there. We just have to start implementing it. Healthcare system, we're so fixated on these expensive treatments rather than treating the cause. And that's what I teach about on everything I've lectured to you for years, is why don't we get to the cause of the problem? It's okay to treat the symptoms. If I have a heart attack, I want to go to the hospital. I want to be treated by the best cardiologist possible. I want to have the best procedures possible. But one of the things they do, for example, a friend of mine had this done recently, they put a stent in. He started having chest pain. His wife used to work in an ambulance corps, and she said, and he was 84 years old, and she said, we're getting you to the hospital. No, I just worked in the yard. My back is sore. That's all it is. And he says, within a couple of hours, they'd put a stent in my heart. Now, the stent will open up the collapsed vessels. Absolutely vital. I agree with that. It's amazing. It's wonderful. But why was his arteries clogged? That was never addressed. So let's combine the incredible knowledge we have in the medical world, and let's combine it with some logic and things that we can do to get to the cause of the problem. Let's do both. That's when we're going to start seeing a change in healthcare. But there's medical interventions. They manage and mask the symptoms. Again, sometimes that's necessary. Until this approach changes, preventable deaths are going to continue to climb. If we keep doing what we're doing, we ain't going to see much change. And it's such a financial burden on people. And I was listening to a show the other day on the radio, and don't quote me on this. I think they said 66% of bankruptcy filings are for medical bills. Maybe it was 66% weren't for whatever it was, but extremely high. Filing bankruptcies for medical bills. Doesn't that stink? Who wins on that? Nobody. Patient isn't getting the care they need. They're all stressed out. Here you are having all these medical bills, getting all this, whatever you're being treated for is very stressful, and you got medical bills. Then you have to file bankruptcy. Doctors aren't getting paid. Hospitals aren't getting paid. The person is under stress. The system is flawed when it comes to getting to the cause of the problem. So I want to combine the two. When it's a medical emergency, absolutely. But what can you do right now to help reduce your risk? That's what we're going to talk about today. American Heart Association says nearly 47% of Americans have high blood pressure, and yet what do we keep doing? We keep taking pills. If I said to you, how long do you have to take the pill before your blood pressure is better? Well, there is no answer. If I have an infection, how long do I have to take the antibiotics till the infection goes away? Well, traditionally, it's going to be 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it is. But when it comes to these chronic diseases, we don't really seem to have an answer. And I'm not saying don't take your pills. What I'm saying is let's also work on getting to the cause. So, and high blood pressure isn't sudden. It takes something to bring it up and keep it that way. For the first sign of trouble, of a life-threatening event such as a heart attack or a stroke, sometimes, many times, is death. And it's really hard to fix it at that point. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death in the United States, and it accounts for 700,000 deaths a year. What are we doing wrong? I believe we have to start incorporating diet, lifestyle. We call metabolic functions. Metabolic functions, how your body metabolizes and functions properly. We have to look at the structural issues that can be involved. And now we have a health care plan. Most people have health insurance, but they don't have a health care plan. So I'm giving you a health care plan. So it occurs when plaques build up. Heart disease, coronary artery disease happens when plaque builds up on the arteries. And I've talked about this many, many times in the past. And it restricts the blood flow to wherever that artery is going. So imagine your arteries are a pipe, a sewer pipe. And as long as there's nothing in there, everything flushes nicely. But if you start building up plaque or you start building up, caking up junk on the side of the pipes, the hole in the pipe gets narrower and narrower. And so what happens then is the pressure goes up. And that's hydrodynamics. If the narrower the tube, the higher the pressure. And so the pressure goes up, and that puts pressure on the blood vessels. So the blood vessels say, uh-oh, I'm getting pressure. I don't want to pop. What can I do to get stronger? I'm going to lay down more calcium. And so now we're, as Elvis Presley said, we're caught in a trap. One thing leads to another, which leads back and forth to this, and now you got a problem. Now your diet, let's talk about cholesterol for a second. Cholesterol can stick to the artery walls. Oxidized, low-density lipoproteins can stick to the artery walls. So what oxidizes them? Well, trauma. I have trauma. I have high blood pressure. It stretches those blood vessels. The blood vessels start to go, uh-oh, I got to do something. That's a trauma. It makes it thicker. Homocysteine. It's an amino acid. It kind of stretches the artery walls. And so the body lays down cholesterol almost like a scab over that scratch so the artery wall doesn't get weak and burst. So what raises homocysteine? Well, methionine and cysteine, we find out a lot in animal proteins, can raise your homocysteine levels. That could be an issue. So when you get your blood work done, I don't want you to only get your cholesterol checked. I want you to get your homocysteine checked. And what brings down homocysteine? B vitamins. If we're taking B vitamins, specifically B6, can help bring down, and B2 can help bring down the homocysteine. We got to get an anti-inflammatory diet. We want to stay away from the things that cause inflammation in our blood vessels. Those are alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. You don't have to cut them out all the way, but you got to reduce them. And so you can get C-reactive protein tested. That tells you how much inflammation is in the body, but it's not specific. Homocysteine is more direct toward the arteries. And so now we have ways to test, and now we suddenly have ways to deal with. And if you change your diet, we can many times clean out those arteries. Dr. McDougall, medical doctor, did a lot of research. His original thought was, is heart disease reversible? And the answer at the time was no. So Dr. McDougall and other people, Dr. Esselstyn, kind of documented and researched it and backed up McDougall's findings, found that people that had clogged arteries, if they eat a plant-based diet, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, plant-based diet, in many cases, not all, but in many cases, was able to slowly cut back and reverse the damage from heart disease, cardiovascular disease. So wait a minute. We have ways to test to see if there's things like irritating the arteries, like homocysteine. We know that a plant-based diet can clean out the arteries. Why isn't this the initial portal of entry treatment when somebody comes in with coronary artery disease? I've never heard anyone ever tell me that that was their portal of entry treatment protocol, ever. We're going to get you on statins. We're going to get you on blood pressure medication. We're going to get you on heart medications. We're going to get you on beta blockers. And that's all good. I'm okay with that. But what else can we do? And that's what we're talking about today. So when an artery becomes fully blocked, oftentimes a heart attack can follow. If it's an artery in the brain, it could be a stroke. If it's an artery in the lungs, it could be pulmonary embolism. And every year, we saw 805,000 people suffer a heart attack. And those who survive many times have heart damage, increasing the risk of further complications. So surviving a heart attack is good, but now suddenly your body is a lot weaker. So heart failure, major contributor to cardiovascular-related deaths. Now let's talk about heart failure. I remember my mother, when she first told me years ago, she said, your father had heart failure. I thought his heart stopped. She goes, no, it just means the heart is getting weaker. It's not a heart attack. Heart attack is sudden. Okay, all of a sudden I get this problem. Heart failure develops gradually over time, and the heart struggles to pump the blood. And that's heart failure. That's a horrible term because heart failure sounds so definitive, but it's actually an insidious process that happens over time. Now, stroke remains the fifth leading cause of death, kills 1 in 6 Americans, and a lot of survivors have permanent disability. Now, this is interesting. When I was in school, I remember learning about stroke patients. And if you ever saw a stroke patient, like maybe they can't move their arm, for example. So if you can't move your right arm, the damage to the brain is on the left side of the body because the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body, right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. And so if I have a stroke and it affects the left side of my brain, it may affect the right side of my body. And I remember learning that if you have a stroke, if the brain was damaged, brain cells were damaged forever. Once they were damaged forever. And then I watched patients, even when I was in school, in my clinical, watch people with strokes start to get better. We do chiropractic on them, we do physical therapy on them, and we see them start to get better. And I was like, wait a minute, how are they getting better? I was told brain cells were dead forever, and they're improving. Well, it turns out your brain has this amazing capability called plasticity. Plasticity is like plastic. The brain can remodel and reshape itself to work around the damaged area. Now, you can regenerate brain cells. Originally, when I was in school, we taught we couldn't regenerate brain cells. You can regenerate brain cells, and you can rewire around the damaged parts. And that's so cool. And that's one of the great things about chiropractic is it actually can activate different parts of the brain when you give the proper adjustments. And along with chiropractic, along with physical therapy, along with nutrition, in many cases, we start to see the person with the stroke start to come back toward normal. Sometimes perfectly normal. Sometimes toward normal. But in all the treatment, the heart disease, the strokes, the pulmonary embolisms, I don't hear people talking about why did I have the stroke? Why did I have the pulmonary embolism? Why did I have the heart attack? Now, there is some genetic predisposition. You may have a weak blood vessel can pop. I get that. I understand that. But generally speaking, I want you to start taking proactive steps to get well and stay well. So I'm going to talk about the best diet, lifestyle things, and then we'll also talk about some things that can trigger heart attacks if we have time. I got a lot to cover today. But if you have a health issue, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, digestive issues, nutritional concerns, so we're kind of talking about here nutritionally, I want you to make an appointment to come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We can do virtual consultations if we need to. Go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Book an appointment to come see us. I say this every day. Stop suffering needlessly. So many of you have health issues and don't know what to do about it. And then it gets worse and worse, and eventually it becomes a big issue. And then many times you show up at my office going, what do I do now? Well, I told you 40 years ago what to do. You didn't listen to me. Don't be one of those patients. If you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. Normally the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for you, my listeners, to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. And I do all of that because I want to find out what's going to be the best course of treatment for you. Is it chiropractic? Is it orthopedics, neurology, neurosurgery? Is it physical therapy? Is it psychiatry? Maybe just need nutrition evaluation. I don't know. But let's not spend a whole lot of money and a whole lot of time trying to decide what's going to be the best course of treatment. And if it's something we can treat, we'll tell you. If it's something we can't treat, I'll tell you that too. Hey, go see this doctor. I have a list of doctors I work with that are very, very good. And let's get to the cause of your problem. And we accept most insurances. Car accidents, sports injuries, Medicare. I can't make it easier for you to get well. The only thing you have to do is go to my website and book an appointment, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. And if you have any health questions, you can send them to me through my website as well. I answer questions all day, every day. Sometimes 20, 30 questions a day come through the website. I'm happy to answer them for you. So I want to be your doctor. I'm going to do everything I can to prove to you that I want to be your doctor. And maybe not your only doctor. You may need other doctors as well, but I want to kind of guide, captain your ship. I want to find out what's going to be the best course for you. So drjoe.com, great source of information. We have over 4,000 hours of content on the website. So type in what you're searching for on the website, whatever the condition is. Chances are we have a podcast or a blog or an article that I've done or a radio show, TV show. Or you could always send me the question through the website, and I'll put together a protocol that I think would be best. So drjoe.com, bookmark that, an important place. So let's talk about some lifestyle habits that are some of the most important things you can do to reduce your risk. And this is all evidence-backed things. Now, of course, eating a heart-healthy diet is so important. Now, we have the DASH diet, which is for high blood pressure. We have the MIND diet for brain function. We have the Mediterranean diet for overall health. And they all basically follow the same protocol. So whatever the issue is, when it comes to the blood pressure and brain or heart, it's the same protocol. So all you have to do is follow the advice. So what is that? Well, let's talk about the Mediterranean diet. Mediterranean diet is kind of like the godfather of them all. I'm Italian. We call him the godfather, right? So the godfather of all diets is the Mediterranean diet. It's been double-blind research. It's been studied all over the world. Most people agree this is the best place to be. If they don't agree, they haven't done the research. So Mediterranean diet is mostly a plant-based diet, usually about 80% plant-based diet. So that's fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, beans, legumes, so a vegetarian diet. Now, with the Mediterranean diet, it's a little bit of meat, but usually in the form of seafood. But the seafood is caught in the Mediterranean. It's not caught off the coast of New Jersey. So it's a different level of non-toxic seafood. A little bit of dairy products, usually in the form of cheese, and maybe a little bit of alcohol, maybe a little bit of meat. But that's about it. But what are the key words there? A little bit. Not a lot. And also the food from the Mediterranean diet, from the Mediterranean, is organic by default. Because a lot of the chemicals and pesticides and herbicides and sprays and additives aren't allowed in the European market. And so the Mediterranean diet, by definition, is essentially organic, even the fruits and vegetables. So that's the place you want to be. You want to make sure you're getting good fats in your diet. When I say good fats, olives. Again, olives are high in salt, though, so olive oil, but that's processed. Now, if you're going to do olive oil, and I use it, you want to make sure it's extra virgin organic olive oil. How do you know you have a good olive oil? Take some, put it in the refrigerator overnight. If it gets thick and cloudy, it's a good olive oil. If it doesn't get thick and cloudy, it's been cut with some seed oils, some junk oils. Bring it back to the store, get your money back. Real simple test right there. So a little bit of olive oil. I remember growing up Italian. We ate the Mediterranean diet. I didn't know it had a word. We ate very little meat on Sunday. That was it. Sunday was the day for meat. And maybe it was a couple of meatballs, maybe it was a piece of spare rib. That was about it. The rest of the meal was vegetables. Many times it was grains, nuts, lentils, split peas. That was part of my German culture as well, the split peas. Beans. We always had a salad at the end of the meal. They used organic apple cider, organic wine vinegar. My grandfather made his own. Nothing in, I can taste it right now. It was so good. Never have I tasted anything like that in my life. And then a little bit of meat, maybe. And then dessert wasn't a bunch of cookies and cakes and pastries. Dessert was fruit, and nuts. Maybe sometimes you have a little eclair or something like that, a little piece of Italian pastry, but a little bit. There was always a bowl of fruit on the table. There was always nuts on the table. And so we'd sit around when we're talking, because we didn't have phones back then, of course, cell phones. We'd sit around, peel some oranges, cut up an apple, crack nuts open, and that's how our social life was. And that was a healthy diet. Then I became an adult, and I started eating restaurants. We were really poor. We didn't go to restaurants. We go to restaurants. I was amazed how expensive it was, first of all, even back then. And what amazed me, I remember one time I was at a restaurant, they brought me salad in the beginning of the meal. I didn't know what that was. I said, wait, where's the meal? The salad comes at the end of the meal. But the Italians and the Mediterranean people understood that vinegar helped stabilize blood sugar, help with digestion. They didn't know why. They just knew how to do it, use it, but they didn't know why. They didn't know the science behind it. Now the science has been proven. And then what do we do after a meal? We'd all go for a walk. And then we come back and we clean up afterwards. So when you walk, what's happening is the muscles are contracting and taking sugar out of your blood, glucose out of your blood, and putting it into the muscles. So we didn't have those spikes in glucose. And we didn't see heart disease like we do now. We didn't see diabetes like we do now. We didn't see high blood pressure like we do now. So I want you to think this way. If you're old enough, go back to when you were 10 years old. Eat the food you could have eaten when you were 10 years old. We didn't have the steroids, chemicals, pesticides, genetically modified food, glyphosate, all these additives, highly processed foods, ultra-processed foods. Didn't exist. Grocery stores were small. Remember those days if you're old enough? So go back to what you ate when you were 10. If it existed then, you could eat it now. How about that? That's a real simple rule. Or if grandma ate it, you can eat it. Or if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. Or stay away from the foods that are ultra-processed in packages that have long shelf lives. There's so many ways you could look at this. It brings you back to the same place. So what this can do is help bring down your risk of heart disease. And then we get the nervous system working. Do you have pinched nerves going to your heart? You want to fix that. If you have upper back, lower neck pain, that's the nerve supply to the heart. Well, let's add that to our protocol to get well. Let's go for a walk after dinner. If not for a walk, just march in place for 30 seconds or a minute. Keep the body in motion. Your body is designed to be in motion. It's not designed to sit around and then eat and then watch TV all day. I love TV. I watch TV every day. I love TV. But I also realize I got to keep my body in motion as well. And that's where exercise comes in. Ultimately, 150 minutes a week of moderate to intense, like walking or bicycling, that's a lot. 150 minutes, that's 2 hours a week. That's half hour a day, 20 minutes a day. But you don't have to do it all at once. Use the stairs instead of the elevator. Walk outside if you get a chance. Take your time, go to the mailbox, walk around a couple of times around the mailbox and come back in. Do squats while you're brushing your teeth. March in place if you get a chance to. Every commercial that comes on a TV, march in place for 10 seconds. And you could add this all up and then get the time you need in there. And let me tell you, you feel a lot better when your body stays in motion. But these are the well evidence-backed things that you can do to reduce your risk of heart disease. Because I don't want you to become one of those people, one every 34 seconds, who has a heart attack in this country. That's a lot. And it doesn't matter until you're one of those 34-second people. Then it's everything. You've heard me say before, I don't care how many problems you have in life. If you have a major health issue, you suddenly have one problem. And that's it. So I want you to have a bunch of problems. Is that a nice thing to say? I got to go to break, folks. If you have any questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Send me your questions. You can book an appointment through our website. All of our podcasts on the website, so I know sometimes you have to take a break. You can't listen to the whole show. You can do that. The podcast on the podcast service, Dr. Joe for the Health of It, Dr. Joe for the Health of It. But search the website. Spend some time on there. Find out what you can find out about your specific health issues. And then send me an email if you want to. Follow me on social media. We post every single day. Dr. Joe Esposito. Facebook is the Dr. Joe Esposito. We have long versions. We have short versions. We have podcasts. We have written things. I want to be your doctor. I want to help get to the cause of your problem and not just treat the symptoms. Next segment, we're going to talk about supplements. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We'll be right back. All right. So much more to cover. Always. What do you got? How
do I know if I have a fatty liver?
Get it tested. You got to go to a doctor and get a blood workup, and they can test it for you. You can do an ultrasound on it as well. But let's do this. Let's assume you have a fatty liver. Let's assume you're high risk of heart disease. Let's assume you're high risk of cancer. Let's assume you're high risk of diabetes. Act accordingly. It's real simple. Act as if you have a fatty liver. Don't guess. Now, when I went to school, fatty liver was alcoholism. That was it. That was the only answer. Fatty liver, alcoholism. Now we have non-alcoholic fatty liver. We have NASH, which is advanced stages of non-alcoholic fatty liver. And where's it coming from? Not everybody's drinking. You don't have 5-year-olds drinking. Sugars, high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup, the fructose has to be converted into glucose. In the process of converting fructose into glucose, you produce something called uric acid. Uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. As a pain management expert, I want to get you out of pain. So that's why I tell people to stop eating high fructose corn syrup. Uric acid prevents the body from properly producing nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels and increases circulation to the whole body, including the liver. Now, in the process of converting fructose into glucose, we can get fatty liver buildup. So you got to cut out your high fructose corn syrup. And if you want to know what to do for the liver, go to my website, drjoe.com, and just type liver in the search bar and listen to the show we did on liver. So act as if you have it. Save yourself some money on the testing. And then you're going to do the right thing and you'll be fine. I hope. More questions?
Should I eat chia seeds?
Yeah, chia seeds are great. Yeah, you can eat more chia seeds. You want to soak them. What you can do is take some chia seeds, soak them overnight, and then eat them the next day. Or at least let them sit for about 10, 15 minutes to absorb the water. Chia seeds are great for bowel function, good source of good fatty acids. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah. Oh, somebody said, by the way, John, you got to talk louder. They can't hear your question sometimes.
Should I drink hot water with turmeric and lemon?
Sure, you can drink hot water, turmeric, and lemon. Absolutely. And if you had a plant-based milk to it, it's called golden milk, which is very good too. But I have a turmeric supplement. It's on the website, drjoe.com. I take it every day. That's an easier way to do it. But if you want to mix turmeric and lemon in water, yeah, absolutely. Good stuff.
Is red meat a good source of zinc?
It is. I wouldn't eat it. It's a good source of zinc, though. I mean, you could suck on nickels. It's a good source of nickel. I'm being facetious. I'm not a fan of red meat. If you want zinc, I'd eat pumpkin seeds. I have pumpkin seeds in my car, and I have pumpkin seeds in my office desk. And whenever I need a quick snack, a couple of handfuls of pumpkin seeds. Helps kill parasites, great source of zinc. You don't have to worry about the steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, genetically modified food, glyphosate, the MTOR pathway, which is stimulated from red meat, which can cause cancer cells to grow. If you grill the meat, heterocyclic amines. If you smell the grilled meat, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. You don't have to worry about the not having fiber in it. So, yeah, you can get zinc a lot other places than meat, and I don't recommend that. So, yeah, do your pumpkin seeds. What else?
Does broccoli and cauliflower have similar benefits?
Yeah, broccoli and cauliflower are cruciferous vegetables, and they have something in it called diindolylmethane. And diindolylmethane helps prevent testosterone from converting into estrogen. And also, because they're cruciferous vegetables, they're very anti-carcinogenic as well. So, yeah, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, they all kind of fit in the same family, and they all have a lot of good benefits. So the answer is yes. Indole-3 carbinol is also good for the cancer that's found in those as well. What else?
That is all.
All right. Let's go on to part 2. There's my tea. All right. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. If you're just joining us, welcome. If you stayed with us, I appreciate that. We're talking today about ways to reduce your risk of heart disease. Now, let me say this. If you want, send me an email through the website, and I will send you a 3-day dietary protocol that I give to my patients with cardiovascular disease. Absolutely free. So just say heart disease meal plan, and I'll send it to you. It's absolutely free. Just send me an email. I'll send it to you. I'll keep your what I'm going to do is I'll put your email address in my newsletter list. If you don't want me to do it, just say don't add me to your newsletter list. I won't do it. It's very fine. But, yeah, I'll send you the dietary plan absolutely free. That's my gift to you. And this way you'll get some ideas of what does it look like. Because I'm learning this now. People say, well, Dr. Joe, I just can't picture a day in a life of eating a heart-healthy diet. I know you talk about Mediterranean diet, blah, 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 blah. Give me breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Let me know what it looks like. And I'll do that for you absolutely free. Just send me an email through the website, drjoe.com. So you want to maintain your weight. Obesity is a major heart factor because you get something called visceral fat. And visceral fat is the fat around your belly. So if you're fat all over, I used to be fat, so I can say the F word. If you're fat all over, that's one issue. But if you have just belly fat, that's a lot of what we call visceral fat or liver fat. And we've got to clean that up because that really increases your risk of heart disease. So if you don't know how to lose weight, because it's tough, isn't it tough? I went to a Billy Idol concert the other day, Billy Idol and Joan Jett. And I went there and I met my friend there. So he drove separately. So I'm standing in line to get in. And I look around, and as far as the eye can see, I didn't see one person that was of a healthy weight. Now, there's this thing, healthy at any size. No. You can accept yourself at any size, but if you're overweight, that's a strain on your heart, your lungs, your muscles, your kidneys, your sex organs, everything. So I looked around and I said, okay, this is amazing. I looked forward, looked back, nobody. Now, Billy Idol crowd is a little older, but that's even more important to get to a good weight. And so if you go to my website, drjoe.com, type 21 day in the search bar or send me an email, and I'll send you the protocol that we have to get our patients jump-started in the weight loss world. I know it's tough. I used to be fat. I don't struggle with food every day anymore. I struggle with food every meal. Every meal I eat, I have to look at it and say, is this the best choice that I can make at this time? And if the answer is yes, I eat it. If it's not, I pick a better choice. It may not be a good choice, but it's a better choice. And that's what we're shooting for, is give you the best choice we can do at any given meal. So the 21-day detox is really, it's great. You take supplements. I have shakes for you. You eat off this list of food. Plenty of food to eat, just to eat off this list. And the first 2 or 3 days, many times people report they're hungry. I've done this several times. First 2 or 3 days, you might be a little hungry. But after the third day, you get this incredible feeling of euphoria. And you don't have this hunger pangs anymore. And you start feeling good and having energy and sleeping better. And your whole life changes. And I've had I'd say more than 50% of people that have done it ask me at the end of 21 days, can I keep doing this? And the answer is yes. It's not practical to keep doing it, but the answer is yes, you can keep doing it. But trust me, if you can give me 2 or 3 days to break that cycle, that crazy craving you have in your brain, life becomes a whole new world for you. So obesity is a big issue. I mean, if you smoke, don't. I just did a whole training class on smoking, and we're just putting the final touches on it too. So give me about a week or two, and if you want to, I can set, there's a training class, and it comes with training. It comes with a supplement protocol, dietary protocol, and it's going to be a little package you can obtain. And it's really hard to stop smoking. I remember my grandmother, toward the end of her life, she was a smoker, and talking to my uncle, I was here in Georgia when she passed, and he said, I watched Nanny, we called her. I watched Nanny gasping for air, her last breaths, and the look on her face was of horror because she couldn't get air in. And he says, I know what she was thinking. If I could go back in time, I would have never smoked because she felt herself dying because she couldn't breathe from the smoking. So I know smoking is tough. Smoking depletes your body of nutrients. And so the supplement protocol I have for smokers, and you can always send me an email, I'll send you that too, is we got to get the nutrients back in the body so the body can start working better. But I mean, I don't think I need to tell you not to smoke. You know that already. We got to tell you what to do about it, but that's not today's show. You want to really limit your alcohol. Heavy drinking raises your blood pressure, it raises your triglycerides, and it lowers your testosterone levels. So you think you're being sexy having a few beers, but gentlemen and ladies, you're lowering your testosterone levels. Now, testosterone is not just a sex drive hormone. Testosterone helps build muscle, not just your biceps and your triceps. Your heart's a muscle. Your sex organs are muscle. Your blood vessels are muscles. Your digestive system are muscles. So when you're drinking, you're destroying so many different parts of your body, including your hormones. I know we think about testosterone. Oh, testosterone makes me sexy, makes me big and strong. It's way more than that. So I remember the last time I had a drink. I was 28 years old. I tell the story many times. I was in Anguilla with the girl I was dating, and they sent a bottle of champagne to our room. She was a famous anchor at CNN, and so they recognized her and sent a bottle of champagne. And I had a glass of champagne, and I felt like crap. And I said, why am I doing this? I never liked drinking. Even in high school, I never liked drinking. And I said, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be on top of my game at all times. So if you're going to drink, and I'm also a realist, I understand this. If you're going to drink, for every drink you have to have a second serving of Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source and Dr. Joe's B Complex. Now, the minimum supplements everybody should be taking are Super Greens, Essential Source, B Complex, and vitamin D. D3 with K2. And that's on my website, drjoe.com. That's the minimum supplements you should take. It's in the store section. If you're not doing at least that, you should. If you're not willing to change your diet, if you're not willing to go out and exercise, if you're not willing to eat organic foods, at least do Super Green Essential Source B Complex and vitamin D3. And then if you go drinking, a second dose when you go drinking. Because alcohol destroys so many nutrients in the body, we have to mitigate that damage. So if you're not taking supplements, I can't understand why. It's the most effective, least expensive thing you can do for your health. I'm not asking you to go jogging. I'm not asking you to go, swim a mile. What I'm asking you to do is take a supplement. It takes maybe 15 seconds in the morning to take your supplements. And it's less expensive than a fancy cup of coffee. So it's inexpensive. The results are amazing. Doesn't take a lot of time. You don't have to preserve anything. You don't have to have anything, fruit sitting on your counter going bad. At least take supplements. Now, I take nitric oxide as well. Nitric oxide opens up my blood vessels. So when it comes to coronary artery disease, I'd recommend a nitric oxide supplement. Now, if you've already had a heart attack, send me an email. I'll send you a protocol. It's a little different than if you haven't had the heart attack yet. But nitric oxide, we use citrulline to convert into nitric oxide, opens up the blood vessels, your heart, your lungs, your brain, your sex organs. Helps lower blood pressure. If you take nitric oxide supplements and you're on medication, keep taking the medication, but monitor your blood pressure. If it goes too low, you want to then talk to your provider, your prescriber, and say, listen, I'm taking nitric oxide. My blood pressure is naturally coming down. Can I reduce my medication? Only a prescriber can do that. I can't tell you to reduce your medication. But nitric oxide is amazing, and that controls your blood pressure. So lifestyle, exercise, sodium intake, potassium, balancing the sodium works amazingly well to help control blood pressure. Now, sometimes the blood pressure is a physical problem. It's sometimes called essential hypertension. About 80% of people have essential hypertension. Sounds important. It's essential, right? Essential means we have no idea what's causing it. Isn't that wild? And so that's when things like nitric oxide and diet. But the other thing we can do is if we have a digestive problem. I was talking to a friend of mine, a medical doctor, the other day. I was a guest on his podcast. And he said, Joe, I've always thought I was smart. He says, and I listen to you talk. And he says, I don't know anything. I said, no, you know how to do surgery. You know how to give drugs. And he says, he's very good at that. But he says, but when it comes to treating the patient, I know nothing. And I thought, what a profound statement. When it comes to treating the patient, getting to the cause of the problem is what he was trying to say. So if you have a digestive issue, heartburn, acid reflux, burping, gas, bloating, the stomach may be pushed up into your diaphragm, sometimes called a hiatal hernia. And if you have the hiatal hernia, we'll give you medication to neutralize stomach acid. Well, it works. Neutralizes stomach acid, absolutely. But wait a minute. You need stomach acid to digest your proteins properly. So if we lower our stomach acid, now we have a collateral damage is we're not digesting our proteins properly. So what we do in many cases, we can physically adjust or pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm. And when we do that, we physically correct the problem. So much of healthcare is physical. And for some reason, in our mentality, we keep treating it chemically. Other countries get it. You go to the Orient, they understand there's a physical component to healthcare. Even in Europe, a lot of places, they understand there's a physical component to healthcare. But here in America, we always like to jump to the chemical approach. Let's incorporate the physical as well. I'm okay if you want to keep the chemical, it's up to you. But let's see if we can fix the physical. So if the stomach is up against the diaphragm, we can pull it back down in many cases. If you have pain, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. And it's a physical approach. Bone out of place, put it back in place. That's kind of chiropractic in a nutshell. 206 bones in the body, any one of them can come out of place. So let's put the bones back in place. That helps with pain, but 90% of the nerves don't feel pain. So you can have a pinched nerve and not know it. My team of doctors are trained to treat the nerves that feel pain and the nerves that don't feel pain. And then my third concern, if you have a bone out of place arthritis, the bones will rub up against each other and wear out if they're out of alignment. That's a guarantee. Whether it's your knee, your hip, your shoulder, your spine, your skull. So let's put the bones back in place so you feel better, open up nerves to organs, slow down that degenerative process. If the stomach's out of place, let's pull the stomach back to its normal position. Let's do a dietary workup. Let's find out if you're eating a good diet. If you're not, let's make some adjustments. Let's see what supplements might benefit. And let's get you on those supplements. So if you want to set up an appointment to come see us, I know this is a very different approach to healthcare. If you want to set up an appointment, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. And you can book an appointment right there. You can send me questions through the website. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for you, my listeners, to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Why do we do that? Certainly not a profit center. We do that because I want to find out what's going to be the best course of treatment for you. Is it chiropractic? Is it orthopedics, neurology, physical therapy, psychiatry, just nutrition? I don't know. So I'm making it so affordable, like they said in the movie, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Let's get to the cause of your problem. And you're spending a heck of a lot of money on health care that you probably don't need to be in many cases. And so you're going to save money. Patients tell me all the time, Dr. Joe, I'm saving a fortune coming to see you as a patient. I'm happy to pay you because I'm saving so much money everywhere else. So drjoe.com, just book your appointments. We accept insurance, car accidents, sports injuries. Just book your appointment. All right, so we're talking today about steps that you can take to get well, but specifically today about heart disease. Managing cholesterol, we kind of covered that in the first part of the show, but it's not the cholesterol that's the problem. It's the cholesterol that's stuck to the artery walls that's the problem. So when you get your blood work done, make sure you check your homocysteine levels. Homocysteine is a better indicator as to how much cholesterol is stuck to the artery walls. And how do we lower homocysteine? Well, I tell everyone they probably need a B complex, and B vitamins can help lower homocysteine. Oh my gosh, that's going to be maybe 10, 15 cents a day right there if I have to take B vitamins. But also then take the stress off the arteries. Take the stress off the liver. High cholesterol is part of the puzzle. It's not the completed puzzle. So I'm okay with you understanding that. High cholesterol is just a piece of the puzzle. Follow your doctor's advice, whatever they say, but let's get the other pieces of the puzzle together for you. I think that's a lot more fun. Keep your blood sugar in check, because sugar can raise your blood pressure just like salt can. So if you don't know how to keep your blood sugar in check, we've covered shows on that before. And a real simple thing, if you don't know what to eat, just go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in, so what can I eat? And if you want to see what a diet that I would give to a patient with cardiovascular disease is, send me an email through the website, drjoe.com, and just say diet cardiovascular. And I will send you a 3-day plan. So you can physically see, oh, this isn't voodoo, this isn't witchcraft. I can eat this. This is so easy. So send me your email. I'll send it back to you. I will put your email on our email list. If you don't want me to include your email on our newsletter list, our email list, just say don't include my email. But there's no reason not to. It's absolutely free. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. But send me your email, ask for the cardiovascular protocol, a menu, whatever you want to call it. I'll know what it is, and I'll send that to you. It's absolutely free. Can't beat it, right? No strings attached. Absolutely free. But we'll talk about stabilizing blood sugar as well as salt, because we keep talking about salt, and it's the sodium-potassium balance. It's not so much the salt. If you use something like Celtic salt, many times that solves the problem. And if you're eating a good diet with things like bananas and avocados and fruits and vegetables, you're getting enough potassium to offset the sodium. And so many times just changing your diet is enough to lower the blood pressure. Maybe it's a pinched nerve. Maybe it's the vagus nerve. Maybe it's the stomach up against the diaphragm. Maybe it's a digestive disorder. Maybe you're dehydrated. Maybe it's a kidney problem. So just lowering the blood pressure is important, but it doesn't fix a darn thing. I want to find out why you have that high blood pressure, why you have high risk of cardiovascular disease. I had a patient come in the other day, wonderful woman. She had a German accent, reminded me of my grandmother. And I just loved talking to her. I just loved hearing the accent. And she said, I take vitamin D every day. I have been since I was a girl. And I looked at her x-rays. You could see so many different arteries just clogged with cholesterol. And I said, one of the things vitamin D does, absorbs calcium into your blood system. Vitamin K2 takes it from the blood system and brings it into the bones. If you're taking vitamin D3 by itself, you can actually increase your risk of cardiovascular disease. Wow. That's why a little knowledge can be dangerous. So she said, what should I do? I said, take a vitamin D3 with K2. She said, okay. That was it. How simple was that? Pennies. I think it was 11 cents a day. It's going to cost her to take the amount of vitamin D3 with K2 that I told her to take. 11 cents a day. So why wouldn't you do that? This is so much more effective and so much less expensive than anything you're doing right now when it comes to healthcare. Let's check the spine for pinched nerves. Let's check everything for pinched nerves from your head to your toe. Let's check the digestive system. Is it working? If it's not working, let's physically fix it. Then let's put good food into the body. Let's get you on the supplements that you need. Again, the minimum supplements, I would say, Super Green Essential Source, vitamin D3 with K2, and B complex. Those are all on the website, drjoe.com. But there's a lot of other ones. Men's hormone support, I take it every day. Because as I'm getting older, my hormones are changing. I take estrogen regulated, prevent my testosterone from converting into estrogen. It's an aromatase inhibitor. I take omega-3 fatty acids for brain function. I take digestive enzymes if I eat cooked food. I made dal the other day, D-A-L. It was red lentils, and it's an Indian dish. And it was cooked. Indian food is always cooked. I mean, that's unfortunately one of the downsides of Indian food. I love Indian food. So I ate a salad with it, and I took a digestive enzyme. I mitigated the damage. It's not hard, folks. You just have to know how. Stress management is important because if you're under stress, your cortisol levels go up, and that increases your risk of heart disease. By the way, if you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking today about mitigating the damage and lowering your risk of heart disease. So stress is a big one. There's physical, chemical, and mental stress. Physical, come see us. My team of doctors and I are really good at treating the cause of pain. Digestive problems means you're not breaking down your proteins into amino acids. Amino acids become neurotransmitters in the brain that can affect the mental health. I can't change the fact that someone dumped you. Someone died. You lost your job. You're getting older. I can't change those things, but I can get you as healthy as possible. And so that can help with the mental stress, and that can help with the chemical stress can help with the mental stress too. So let's get that stress under control. And sleep is really important when it comes to heart disease. So if you're not sleeping well, maybe you have digestive issues. Maybe your stomach is pushed up against your diaphragm. You have sleep apnea. You're burping a lot. You're not breaking down your proteins into amino acids to produce neurotransmitters like tryptophan, which becomes serotonin, which helps you sleep. See how it all ties together? It all goes back to the normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. It's just that simple. So let's start adding green leafy vegetables. Let's have a salad every day. Because salad, green leafy vegetables many times have nitrates in it. Nitrates convert into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. Lowers blood pressure, takes the stress off the heart. Beets are high in nitrates, but I take Dr. Joe's nitric oxide support every day. I think you should too. Whole grains. If you're going to do oats, make sure they're organic steel-cut oats. That's it. Rolled oats, no. Especially if they're not organic, because their chances are they're sprayed with glyphosate here in the United States. Across overseas, you're not going to have that problem. But steel-cut oats are going to have better fiber content, and it's going to slow down the absorption of sugar and stabilize your blood sugar. If you're going to do a bread, I recommend sprouted bread only. There's a brand called Ezekiel bread. That's sprouted, but I know Kroger has their own sprouted brand. Publix has their own sprouted brand, sprouted bread. Nuts are great. Walnuts, almonds, pecans, pistachios, not peanuts. Peanuts are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which can cause inflammation in the arteries, and that goes back to what we just talked about a few minutes ago. So nuts are great. Pumpkin seeds, like I said, high in zinc, can help kill parasites. Vitamin E you can get from nuts and seeds as well, and that's an antioxidant, helps the heart be healthier. But if I eat too many nuts, I get fat. And now we're back to getting rid of that belly fat. So what I do is I eat maybe a handful or two and stop a day, and that's it. I don't know about you, but I get fat when I eat nuts. So, omega-3 fatty acids, they're essential fatty acids necessary for heart and brain function. So where do we get omega-3 fatty acids from? I get it from algae. Algae is the purest form. I don't like fish oil as an omega-3 because a lot of times it's not in a phospholipid form, which means you can't absorb it. Krill oil is okay. Algae oil is the best. I take the one that's on my website, drjoe.com. I take 2 a day. That's an expensive supplement. Not going to lie to you, compared to 11 cents a day for a vitamin D3 with K2, but it's worth it. That's what I always say. Is it worth it? Whenever I eat a meal, is it worth it? If I go on a date, is it worth it? I've gone on dates, and after the first date, I remember a girl I used to date used this line. He was a nice guy. He wasn't my nice guy. I think about that if I'm on a date. She's a nice girl. She's not my nice girl. Because I don't want to waste my time. It's not worth it. And you have to think about that with your health, guys, especially as you're getting older. The clock is ticking, man. And we don't have as much time as we used to. It's not worth it to me. So beans, lentils, split peas, high in fiber, high in protein can help reduce the risk of coronary artery disease. Fruits. Eat fruit every day. whole fruit, not fruit juice. Eat fruit every day. And you want to stay away from things like the processed meats. Of all the things I can tell you, processed meats are going to be the worst of the meats. The salami, the cold cuts, the turkeys. Please, processed meats have to be gone. If you're going to eat meat, it has to be organic only, or dairy products. Any animal product, organic only. There is no other option as far as I'm concerned. Now, you could choose not to eat it, which is what I choose. But if you're going to eat it, organic only. And the red meats, of course, can increase your risk of cardiovascular disease. We know that already. It can stimulate the mTOR pathway, which can stimulate cancer cells. Sugar. Sugar is a tough one because sugar stimulates the nucleus accumbens in your brain, and you get high from it. And I like getting high just like you do. And so what do? You can't have a little, because if I have a little sugar, you know what I want? More. If I have regular bread, you know what I want? More. So cut down those sugars. You can use stevia, lohan. There's plenty of other things you can use aside from sugar that are sweet. If you're going to do a grain or a potato or starch, I want you to cook it, put it in the refrigerator overnight, eat it the next day or the day after that. That creates something called a resistant starch. You're going to absorb 40% or more or less carbohydrates, and that carbohydrates convert into something called a prebiotic, which feeds the good bacteria in your colon. And all of us need digestive health, everyone. And giving your body prebiotics, which then feed the good bacteria, is vital. So you can make a resistant starch with that. Stay away from the trans fats, the hydrogenated oils, the fried foods. I went to this vegan fest the other day. I thought, oh, these are my people, right? Almost every booth there had fried food. Fried mushrooms, fake shrimp, fake fish, French fries. Folks, just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy. Stay away from those fried foods, the seed oils. And when you fry something, it creates something called acrylamides. Acrylamides are linked to cancer. I know we're talking about heart disease today, but hey, let's not cause cancer either. So stay away from those fried foods. The saturated fats, the animal fats, of course, are bad for you. The ultra-processed foods. If you can't pronounce an ingredient, don't eat it. If it has a very long shelf life, don't eat it. Food should go bad. I got a lot more to cover. I'm almost out of time. If you have any questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com. I want to be your doctor. I want to help put together a protocol to get you well and keep you well. If you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. Normally, the first visit is $940. For you, it's $299. And I don't have time to explain all that again. We accept most insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. If you're a car accident, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way. So if you're in an accident, come see us. If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, so if you just want to get well, I want to help get you to that point. So drjoe.com. Follow me on social media. It's Dr. Joe Esposito. Facebook is the Dr. Joe Esposito. And the podcast, Dr. Joe for the Health of It. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I'll catch you next time. All right. You have questions?
Should I do more hiking or biking?
It's a good question. If I had to pick one, I'd say hiking. But they're both great. So shake it up. Do them both.
Is balsamic vinegar okay for salads?
Yes, it is. Make sure it's an organic balsamic, though. And, yeah, you're okay with that. Try to get it in a glass jar, too, because if you get it in a plastic jar, the acid is eating away at the plastic and putting plastic into it. But, yeah, I like balsamic vinegar, actually. So, yeah.
Is wild-caught king salmon a good choice?
It's a better choice. If I'm going to do fish, I would do wild-caught king salmon, absolutely. But I don't do fish. But if you're going to do fish, that's probably your best choice, yes.
A gallon of sweet tea often has a cup and a half of sugar. If I use stevia instead, how much should I use?
It depends on the brand of stevia. And the reason I say that is some brands are actually spoonful for spoonful. I know Walmart has one that you can bake with, and it's spoonful for spoonful. So I don't know how much you're going to do, but I would say maybe start out with a teaspoon of pure stevia. Again, if it's pure stevia, it's cut with maltodextrin, I don't know. So maybe start with a teaspoon and taste it and go up from there. You might even go to a tablespoon, a gallon and a half of tea. But yeah, you're going to have to be careful with it because it's 300 times sweeter than sugar, but it depends on the brand. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but I don't. But try it and see. Start out slow. You can always add more. You can't take it out. That's what my mother always taught me. What else?
Is venison a better choice than beef or chicken?
Probably. Depends if it's organic beef, we know what it was fed. If it's not venison, we don't know what the venison ate. So it could have eaten, I don't know, toxic chemicals that were sprayed with glyphosate or something. I don't know. So if you're going to eat meat, I'd recommend organic. If you're going to do venison, I can't argue with you. But just understand, we don't know what that deer ate. So what else?
Is there any acidity in blackberries and raspberries?
It's mild acidity, but it's neutralized by the phytochemicals and everything in there. So I would consider it an alkaline food. Yeah, you're fine with that. Yeah.
That is all.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. What's your homework? Follow me on social media, right? Dr. Joe Esposito. Any questions? drjoe.com. We will talk to you soon. Hopefully.